One of the most exhausting parts of homeschooling is not the teaching. It's constantly having to explain yourself. Not everyone in my circle was overjoyed when I announced that I was going to homeschool over 10 years ago. And I'm a former teacher. That was one thing I really did not expect out of the people closest to me even. This was real surprise resistance from my family, my friends, just people in general that I knew. I did not expect that, and I didn't know that homeschooling was such a contentious topic. I had no idea until I jumped headfirst into the deep end. I thought that because I was a former teacher, everyone would be like, oh, okay, that's cool. I was so wrong. I was so wrong, my friends. And I felt very early on, before I had any confidence, that I had to justify and prove my stance, which was really, really hard. Homeschool moms get pressure from every side. We take flack from every single direction, from our family, our friends, the media, trolls online. I mean, you name it, I get it from all sides. Although, because I've been doing this for so long, my family and my friends are totally cool with me homeschooling. I found my tribe. We're cool. But I still get a lot of flack from people online, especially from this channel and different outlets that I have, like my Instagram and my Facebook and things like that. I get online trolls every single day. Public schooling is rarely questioned, although it is the default norm. And I think more questions have happened now because so much was exposed in 2020 during the epidemic, during COVID stuff, and the parents really started seeing more of what was being taught. And I think that opened up a lot more scrutiny to public schools and to teachers and to what exactly is being taught to my child here. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think parents should be more involved in their children's education, obviously. Just know that the pushback against homeschooling is not about you. It usually comes from one of two places. One, lack of information. And this is the category that typically your family is going to fall under. Your grandparents, your parents, if you're my age, it's the boomer generation and beyond. They do not understand homeschooling because it wasn't a thing when they were kids. And that's really easy to dispel. I dealt with that personally with my own family. It's one of those things that it works itself out in time. Okay, you explain your side of the situation to them. If they still don't understand, say, that's okay. I can't wait for you to see how well these kids do. And then, then we'll talk about it again. Other place is where everybody else falls into. You're talking online trolls, the media, everybody else. This is a worldview conflict. Okay, and typically your grandma who doesn't understand homeschooling is not going to fall into this category. Now, she might, but most of the time it's not going to be that, especially for people watching this channel, that's the people I'm talking to. Most online trolls, people like that, they do not care that homeschooling actually is better in academics, and they'll try to tell you that it's not. They don't care about that. They don't care about the quality of education that your child is receiving. They care about the worldview that you're teaching and the worldview of the books that they are learning from. That's what they care about. They don't like Christianity. They hate the God of the Bible, and they lash out against that. And I know this because my husband and I have talked to hundreds of them over the years, and it always comes down to that issue. They usually start with, one of those outlier things. Homeschool kids are dumb. Homeschool kids don't do well in school. Homeschool kids can't do this. And that's the mask. They try to mask it, and they try to dance around it, tiptoe around it. They're not very good at it. And usually when you get to the heart of the matter, I would say over 90% of the time, and I'm being generous here, it's a worldview issue. So knowing that, I'm telling you this is like insider information. I'm telling you this so when you come across this, you can keep this in the back of your mind and say, oh, I know why this person's actually really upset, which will help you better defend your position. Online criticism is not about education. It's almost always about worldview. So keep that in the back of your mind, keep it in your back pocket. So the next time that you come up against a very strong opinion, someone who's yelling at you online, or maybe it's an atheist friend of yours, you can keep that in the back of your mind and say, you know, what's really bothering you? Are you really upset because you think that my kids are not going to get a great education, or are you really mad because I'm teaching them the Bible? Get to the heart of the matter, and that might actually sort out the argument with somebody that you know in real life. But again, this is typically not going to be your parents or your grandparents or just somebody who doesn't understand homeschooling. And usually the people who give you pushback on homeschooling are going to fall in one of those two categories. So figure out which category that person is in, and then you can figure out how to deal with the justifying your position part. The truth that most homeschooling moms need to hear: you don't owe anyone an explanation for homeschooling your children. That's the heart of it. You really don't. And that was something that was really hard for me to deal with because I am a people pleaser. I don't know why I am this way, but I am this way. And it really bothers me if I have upset somebody. Like, it really has. Even if my choice has nothing to do with the person that I'm talking to, if I have upset somebody by my choice to do something, it bothers me. Like, it really, really bothers me. And then I try to make that person feel better. I have been this way since I was young. The Lord's working on me, okay? I'm working on it. I'm getting a little bit more bold. I'm almost 41 right now, and I'm getting there, guys. I'm changing. But this is something that we have to learn, that we do not owe anybody an explanation for our decision to homeschool. If the Lord has called you and your husband to homeschool your kids, that's all you need. That's it right there. The only person that you are answering to is the Lord. So just remember that. You don't owe anyone an explanation. At the end of the day, those kids in your possession are on loan from the Lord to you and your husband. That's it. You do not owe anybody else an explanation. If you and your husband have decided that this is the path that you are going to go down, that the Lord is leading you that way, go with it. Don't worry about anything else. Let the chips fall where they may. It will work itself out. And your homeschool will go through ups and downs just like everybody else's. My homeschool goes through ups and downs, but you know what? I'm at a place now where I have more freedom because I have one who's already graduated and I have one who's in high school. I have more freedom to do the things I want to do, like reading and cooking and cleaning and, you know, whatever else needs to be done in the house. I have a lot of freedom right now, and that is kind of a strange thing for me in general, but it does end up happening. So if you are under pressure to justify your homeschool, just know it happens to most of us. It really does. It happens to almost all of us, and we have had our decisions questioned more than once. And just know that it's normal. We all go through it because it's not the norm. If it was the norm, it would be better. But I have found that through the years, homeschooling is becoming more popular. It's growing, and less people question me outside of, you know, my friends and family circle. Less people question me out in the real world when they see me at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday with my kids in tow. I don't get typically the whole, why aren't those kids in school type of questions anymore. I mean, I just don't. I think, and it's not because these people recognize me or they know me. It's because homeschooling, I think, is becoming more of a normal thing. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. I think it's growing. So you are not alone, my friend. We're going to get through this together. And I would love to hear from you down in the comments. Let me know, did you get pushback when you said you were going to homeschool? Tell me down below in the comments. I would love to hear your answers. I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and happy homeschooling.